Before we learn the truth about SLO County real estate, there is still time to sign up for the live podcast event on Monday, March 13th at Milestone Tavern on Foothill in SLO at 5:30. Food, drinks, and your questions about buying a home in SLO County. Email Hal at teamsweasey, that's SWEASEY.com to reserve your spot.
If you worry about the price of your house every day, you need more things to think about.
The truth is, we are all thinking about other things in our lives, and your house brings the financial security to do it confidently. Another truth is that headlines about the housing market are misleading, especially when it comes to San Luis Obispo County.
What is your intention with the house? If it's to be your home, then today's price is today's price. If you don't want the home, what's tomorrow's price going to be? Does it really matter? Today, you need a home to live in.
Home ownership gives you a wealth-building investment, fixed costs, and other benefits. When you are buying or selling in an area as desirable as our Central Coast communities, it helps to have a team that will do their best to get you to a fair price despite the wild roller coaster we are on.
The market moves really quickly. When I go out to meet with a seller right now, because there are few homes for sale, very few, it's harder to comp them out. If there hasn't been a sale for a while, it's very hard to go, your house is just like this one, which sold for this price.
Time to get to the truth about real estate in San Luis Obispo County with Team Sweasey. Here's your host, James Bueno.
All right, gentlemen, we're back. SLO County Real Estate with Mr. Hal Sweasey. And guess who's here? Mr. Sweasey. How are you, sir?
I'm great, James.
JT's here. How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I love being here. You kidding me?
And the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. JP is back. How are you, sir?
I'm excellent and glad to be back.
Awesome. Mr. Kingman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
So, Hal.
Wait, I just realized you got JK, JB, JP, JT,
and then Hal Sweasey. Yeah, we've said that before.
Harold,
I forgot.
Harold the Third.
There's a lot of J's in this whole thing.
It's all J.
Okay.
Hal, we were battling, and I had to stop you guys to say, let's put it in a podcast.
Right.
So, let's just get rolling. Everybody's hot and bothered. Look, JT right there is clinching his chair, and he's fired up. He's snarling at me.
Yeah.
Just FYI, JT, on the conversation before, I was on Team JT. Okay. I was on your side.
Awesome.
So yeah, I was there. So
you know what's really fun about this whole group is that we're 4 guys hanging out, 5 guys hanging out, having conversations about the things that we witness, the things that we know, and our experiences, and it becomes a podcast.
Gosh, everybody's just so passionate about it. I had to stop you and say, put your microphones on and let's talk.
Let's make sense of this.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, we're talking about what direction's the market heading, what are sales doing, what are interest rates doing, because everything's moving at a pretty fast clip. And I will say this, in general, the market moves so much faster than it used to. Because I remember back in March of last year, getting a house ready for sale, we'd be, here comes the weekend, get ready for the showings, and then Monday we'll have a bunch of offers, and then I think we had 1 or 2 calls and maybe 1 showing on a house, and it was like, what just happened? And that was, end of March, Easter time. And then, then the rates went up really, really fast, right? We remember that. And then people got all nervous and freaked out. And then people kind of got used to it. And then in the last month, I say, we did this when Graham was here, our great buyer's agent, we've seen a lot more uptick in activity. In fact, Jay, you were just tracking, you said the open escrows are up significantly. Is that
significantly, yeah,
January?
week over week over week. Because we looked at the January over January numbers, 22 over 23, and they were down considerably, closed transactions.
Right.
In February, the open order count has gone up every single week.
So I'm talking to a good friend of mine who's a Bay Area real estate broker, and he said something to the effect of, last year, if we comp a house from last year, we're down 20%. So the Bay Area's got, on their pricing. And he goes, in the first month of the year, we're up 10%. Right? So you know how fat, houses used to just creep up, 6-7% annually on average, John? If you average it out, most homes over the long haul are going to go up 6 or 7%. So the market moves really quickly. When I go out to meet with a seller right now, because there are few homes for sale, very few, it's harder to comp them out. Meaning we have lots of little submarkets in every town, every community, every little borough, neighborhoods are different. If there hasn't been a sale for a while, it's very hard to go, your house is just like this one, which sold for this price. Your house is a little bit bigger than this one, and it's in a different neighborhood, and your lot's like this, so there's a lot more extrapolation. It's tough for an appraiser. See, appraisers, really have to back up their data, and we look at it like appraisers. And if you go down to some of the large cities where they'll have 3, 4, 5, 10,000 home subdivisions, and they had 3 floor plans. Did I say pans? 3, 4?
You said
3 or 4
Yeah.
pans.
Pans. Right.
Or 3
Saute,
floor plans.
yeah.
4 floor
Floor paint.
floor
anyway,
plans. 3 different kinds of houses on a
Yeah,
big lot.
there you go.
It's easy to go, okay, that was the plan A that's 1,500 square feet, but it had upgrades in the kitchen, so we're going to give it a $30,000 or $50,000 bump. Here you might have a craftsman style house downtown, and there hasn't been a sale like that for a year and a half, and it was smaller, and we're trying to figure out what the value is. So it's very unique, and it makes it hard to make generalizations about the marketplace. But here's what I did know. I was meeting with a wonderful couple that have a wonderful Victorian in Arroyo Grande, trying to figure out the value. And I went, here's what's happened in January in Arroyo Grande. We had 12 closings in January. Last year there were 16 closings, so less. And I go, and we had 7 new houses come on the market. 12 went away, 7 came back. That means the inventory is going what? Up or down?
Shrinking.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting time when it comes to that. And when people freak out about what's going to happen to values, which they shouldn't, right? Because if you're buying or selling, you shouldn't be worried about whether it's going to go up or down. You should be worried about, is this a great place to live? And can I fix my cost of living? But it's very challenging to put some of these numbers on it. And it tells me that the lack of supply is going to support housing prices in general. So whatever fluctuations they are, they're not going to be much. So my point is, it's a tricky time to put a value on things in this marketplace.
Well, we have seen values soften a little bit in the county, in certain places in the county, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
certain houses that might have sold for $630 in March or April last year that might sell for $599 or $595. So there's a little drop in price.
And some of that we can attribute to seasonality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so do we know if housing prices are going up or down right now? And I would say yes, they're
Yes.
going up or down.
The wisdom.
Yeah.
The wisdom.
No, I mean,
I know.
it's so difficult right now because of the size of our sample from which we're trying to extract data and make informed decisions.
Yeah.
But I think you make a good point that I think we need to come back to, and that's this notion of I'm a home buyer, and the biggest thing I'm worried about is, oh my gosh, if I buy a house right now, is it going to go down? And I go back to a story we told a few months ago, and that's if you bought a house for $1 million today and you woke up 6 months from now and it's worth $900,000, what would you do?
I'd make my payment and stay in my house.
You'd fix breakfast. You'd get the kids ready for school in the school district that you chose when you bought the house, in the kitchen that you remodeled when you bought the house because it was exactly what you wanted. They went out and played on the swing set in your backyard that you chose, and they went off to school. You went to work, and nothing changed in your life.
And if you worry about the price of your house every day, you need more things to think about.
Yeah, and it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. I mean, I've seen a house on a street, go up for X and be on the market for 3 months before someone came in and bought, close to the asking price. Same house 2 doors down goes up, same basic floor plan, is on the market for 24 hours because there was someone that was moving that wasn't looking for a home 3 weeks ago, and today is. Right. So, there's timing involved too, and individuals and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I said a few minutes ago before we started rolling the tape that housing prices are a little bit like fingerprints. Everybody has one, and they're all different, and every house is going to be different.
yeah. Every buyer,
Too many variables.
Yeah.
I think I quoted Warren Buffett the other day when he talks about, it's Charlie Munger, this century. We've had 2 world wars, we've had the atomic bomb, we've had pandemics, we've had all these things happen. But at the end of the day, the American economy just continues to go on. So they just have a much broader perspective. I think we get that with age, right?
Yeah, you're not looking at things at a micro level. You're a little more macro. You've got that 10,000-foot view as opposed to I'm living in the streets and I'm feeling the discomfort of what's happening right now, this very second, because it's affecting me. They've got the ability to look back over a longer period of time because they've felt that. They've been in the streets. They've felt that pain, and now they've lived through it, and they can look back and talk about it.
And they're still here.
Yeah,
Right? Stability, creates confidence, and it makes it easier for people. And the unknown, if things change quickly, if rates drop way down, guess what's going to happen, right? If rates go up a lot, that's what's going to, we know what's going to happen.
Sometimes when I'm forced to make a difficult decision, I kind of almost go onto the negative side, and I go, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen here? Okay, so I'm go back to a few months ago talking about my son buying a house in Seattle, right? What's the worst thing that could happen to him? Okay, his payment stays the same. Mic drop.
Yeah, rates go to 8%. He bought well below 8.
He's
a winner. The other side of that coin, what happens if rates go down to 4?
We'll pick up the microphone.
Yeah, he could.
We'll start talking again.
Yeah, he could refinance, and then he wins. Like you can only go the right direction.
What scares people, JT, is that you buy a house for $600,000 and a year later it's worth $550,000. It's worth quote $550,000.
Yeah.
That scares people.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
if you had to sell it, then
if
lose
you have
money.
to sell it, sure,
then you might lose money.
it's your home. If you're there for 5 years, you're not going to lose that $50,000.
What back to the conversation Jeff had with us a few weeks ago about Vegas, and what are the odds on that? The
Yes.
odds on that are 85% of
Yeah.
the last 60 years home
Oh,
prices
that's right,
went
yeah.
up. 15% of the years they went down. I mean, do you want to live in a world where you're focused on the 15 or the 85? I'm choosing the 85.
It depends on the type of buyer. Like if you're a house flipper and you want to get in and out of a house in 6 months.
That's like a day trader. That's a speculator. Those guys,
Right.
that's a different world.
Right.
We're talking
Yeah.
about
home
homeowners.
buyer. Just
Yeah.
a home
Yeah.
buyer. Yeah.
The people that
Not
buy
a
a house
speculator.
for the school district.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
They're not thinking of those.
For the
terms.
yard.
Yeah.
The-
In our case, it was the pool.
Yeah,
I mean, we
there you
wanted
go.
the kids
Yeah.
to be entertained in the backyard.
I get people call me, well, I want to wait till I find a deal. What is a deal? I don't know what that, I know what that means is we want to buy something below where the market is. And that can happen because you're a friend, or it could happen because somebody who's selling is not worried about getting the last nickel out of the house. And it can happen when people are distressed. I can tell you one thing, there's no distress in the people I deal with. And we rarely had that. We did in 2009, 10 or whatever.
Yeah, when it started to fall apart the summer. Well, prices were peaked in June of 2006, and we really saw the evidence in 2008.
Even then, if you couldn't make your payment or your payment went way up, which they did, and what are the chances of that right now? Like super small. How many adjustable rate mortgages? I mean, everybody locked in their rate. So we didn't have those big rate spikes. And then I can't make my payment. What do? Well, I'm going to sit here and the bank's going to take a year to short sale or foreclose it. So I get my house for another year. I mean, seriously, that happened. But my point is when we see this, I see so many more people coming in now with money to this town. I mean, the people that come in here and the resources they have is way different. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, because if you're working at, not a high-paying job here and you're trying to get in housing, it's challenging. We know that. The amount of resources that have come to this community is way different than it used to be. And the cost of entrance, obviously, has gotten higher.
In 2004, 4, 5, and 6, what were the requirements to get a loan to buy a house, right?
You could fog a mirror.
Yep. They were called signature loans. The concept was everybody gets a house. Yay, right?
Right.
And that created a situation where people that couldn't afford a payment were buying properties with these crazy products. These crazy products were reverse amortizing notes, like we're going to sell you the house and give you the money at 6%, but you're only going to have to pay 3% for this period of time.
Negative amortization.
Yeah, and your balances continue to
You don't,
grow.
you don't hear that anymore, do you?
No, you don't.
You don't.
Thank the Lord.
Right?
So that caused a problem because what did that do? That increased the available buyers. It just made everybody capable of buying. So that drove prices through the roof. And then when those notes came to a point where those rates were being adjusted to what was really going to be happening for the future of the loan, they couldn't afford it. And so that's not what's happening in today's world, right? So you still have to qualify for a loan, even if you're getting a rate buy down that's temporary. You still have to qualify for the loan, which you didn't have to do back in 2004, 5, and 6, which created that cliff that we fell off. So
why was everybody so bold to buy real estate? Because of the price. They thought the price would go up.
yeah.
And see, that's the dilemma for me, and I think that's just a wrong way to think about real estate is the price, right? I'm buying it because the price might go up or they'll go down. Again, that just causes problems, right? I'm buying it because I can afford it. It's the good place. It's where I want to live, as John said.
The bottom line end of this part of our conversation is that market doesn't exist today. Our market is far more stable because we don't have foreclosures. We don't have high inventories. We don't have bad loans, right? So looking forward, driving out of our windshield, where's this market going?
I think in business, if you don't remember the past, you're condemned to repeat it. So it's important, I think, to spend a little bit more time looking at it. And if we can see some of the tells, like what happens if Freddie and Fannie start reducing the requirements for individual buyers to come in and buy? What is that going to do to our market? Always goes back to a point, and you do too, JT, and that is, what is your intention with the house? If it's to be your home, then today's price is today's price. If you don't want the home, what's tomorrow's price going to be? Does it really matter? Today, you need a home to live in. Or here I am living in the Central Coast. My grandkids, my son and his wife moved to Colorado, and they've got a kid on the way. And I'm going to miss the first birthday. I'm going to miss christening. I'm going to miss walking. I'm going to miss all these things. I want to sell my house and get there. I want to sell that house. It doesn't matter to me, or it's not my biggest concern. Am I going to sell for $50,000 less than I can 6 months from now? Or am I going to beat myself up because I didn't sell in June when I didn't know the child was coming? Because my house would have sold for $50,000 more. I just think a home is different than speculating in the stock market or flipping houses for a profit. It is a place to live and grow. And on this podcast alone, you've talked about, the kids, the school district, the backyard. All those things are so crucially important.
Yeah. And our market's more stable than it was in 2010. It's the bottom line.
No comparison.
Yeah.
Night and day.
It's better now than it was in 2017-18. So that's not the issue. Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the discussion. For San Luis Obispo County, owning real estate is a prized possession. We see less turnover here just because people like it here, the quality of life. It's just, if you're able to manage to get into this market, good for you.
And and Jeff said this the other day. There's a lot of doom and gloom. Anytime anything happens with values, it today could be less than yesterday, and then everybody likes to say, "Oh my God, everything's crashing. We're done. Sell, don't buy, freeze, stop spending money," and it freaks everybody out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few times are knee-jerk reactions the proper reactions to anything, and especially when it comes to where you live and your finances.
Right.
Just everybody calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Slow and it's boring.
Hey, slow.
Slow down.
Slow county real estate.
Yeah.
Hal Sweasey.
Yeah.
Slow and easy.
Great place.
You
Sounds
brought
like
up
a cocktail. I like that.
You brought up something about the foreclosure era and where these guys were doing a couple hundred foreclosures a year, and it kind of made me think. Dave Ramsey did an article recently about how to pick an agent, and one of the things he said in that article was, don't pick your brother-in-law's sister's dog to be your agent just because of relationships, but pick an agent who does enough transactions to have the experience to shepherd you through this process. The average agent in this county, 2,800 agents in the county, approximately 6,000 transactions in a good year. What's the math on that?
Couple
per agent.
Quite a few.
2.3.
So I think because I'm not officially a part of Team Sweasey, I'm kind of a consultant to Team Sweasey, I can brag about them a little bit. And when we look at our numbers, Hal's listing 100 or more houses a year, and each one of our salespeople selling 30 houses or so. I'm proud of the experience that you guys bring to the table. So I just wanted to tip my hat to you guys. And when you compare these guys to what's going on in the county, and you see, you got some agents on your team that do a lot of business, Jay, and you got some people that have phoned it in, right?
That are brand new to the business, and we actually they have to be in our launch or PC program until they've completed a certain amount of transactions. The little Pareto principle is that 80% of the business is being done by 20% of the people. In our community, it's more like 90-10.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us on this podcast, but there's only one name, and it's Hal Sweasey's name, and there's a gosh darn good reason why. Because what he brings to the table and what he brings to the community.
And JT, you are a part of the team. Don't say you're not part of the team. You are the one that implements a lot of the stuff that Hal wants. So
I'm a business consultant.
That's right. He's on the team. It's a position on the team.
all right, well, we'll hug later. Let's go ahead and let's finish up this podcast.
We can high five. Come on.
High five, hug,
five.
share a tear,
Yeah.
take a couple of
Yeah,
shots.
that'd be
good. There we go.
However we do it. If you are interested in coming to our live podcast recording, you can email Hal at teamswayze.com. You can email me, James, at teamswayze.com. Give us a call. Talk to anybody here. Like I said, we communicate, so we'll let each other know.
Yeah. We'd love to see him.
Yeah, I am part of the team. I got an email address.
You do. You don't ever use it, but you do.
I think, and the cool thing about the live podcast event is people are going to be able to ask you guys questions right there.
Yeah, so that's going to be the fun part, an interesting part. I think Hal's already got a few questions that hopefully we don't get from some of the people that he's invited. But
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I
but
don't
I'll be
either.
ready.
yeah,
But I'll make sure I'm there.
yeah,
Where's
we'll
the
be
ranch
ready.
for my wings.
Yeah,
Yeah, where's the
yeah,
ranch
we'll,
for my
we'll be
wings?
ready for anything. So if you want to, come be a part of it. We'll buy you a drink or two. We'll have some hors d'oeuvres. I put them up on the screen earlier. It'll be fun, a great time. So let us know if you want to come. It is by invitation only. Don't just show up and start partying and going hard. Although it would be fun to see. It would be fun, but just don't do it. Leave that up to us. Thank you for listening to the Hal Sweasey podcast. Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast. It comes out every Monday, so check for it in your feed for the latest information on the San Luis Obispo County market. The Slow County Real Estate with Hal Sweasey podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and on halsweasey.com, where you can find current listings and other real estate tips. halsweasey.com, that's HALSWEASEY.com. I am James Bueno, Director of Marketing for the Hal Sweasey Group. If you're looking for anything real estate, give us a call, 805-781-3750.
Hal Sweasey is a licensed California real estate broker. DRE number 01111-911. The Slow County Real Estate with Hal Sweasey podcast is a production of AGM Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.